Hey everyone, welcome to your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Laura Nerbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So every Tuesday at noon, I get the pleasure of showing you a little project that I've been working on, and I try to break it down with you and show you how it's done. So today's project, I actually used sets from our annual catalog. I know it's a shock. I've been playing so much with the holiday catalog and the fun things in there, but sometimes I do try and remember the sets that I had purchased previously, and as it turns out, these two sets are ones that carried over from last year's holiday selection. So let me show you what I'm using, and then I will also show you a stamp set that you can use from the holiday catalog in case that's where you're making your purchases. So my sentiment that I chose for this one is from Celebrate with Tags. It had just this really nice large Merry Christmas that I thought fit with what I had in mind for the card today. And then the poinsettias and the leaves for this set are coming from Ringed with Nature. So I'm using 3 different colors. I've got Cherry Cobbler, Shaded Spruce, and Old Olive. And I've picked 3 different pieces from this Ringed with Nature stamp set to use on my card. Now, I did promise if you were looking for something from the holiday catalog, you can make a very similar card using the Modern Garden. You could use this sentiment here in the corner, wishing you the warm blessings of Christmas, and then you can combine that with the large and the small poinsettias, and then you'd have to just splatter in a few leaves, maybe this tiny one here or 2, or from your own collection as well. So that is something that you can recreate this card with using a set from the holiday catalog, or even just from your own collection. If you don't have any of these 3, go ahead and substitute in. Maybe you don't even have flowers, maybe you have snowflakes, and that's what you want to play with. But the gist of this card is very simple, and I'll show you how to add just a little bit of texture to it after we play a little bit. So to begin, you're going to need a piece of cardstock, and I know this looks like garden green on your screen, but I swear it's shaded spruce. So one of the greens, grab that. It needs to be 5.5 by 8.5, and you'll put a score mark at 4 1/4. This is going to be your card base, and so as always, we like to put something inside so you can write. So we've got a piece of basic white for that. This will be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and you're going to put just a flat adhesive like some tape or some glue onto that. Seal one of those things to get this inside. And of course, later on, you can always come back and stamp the inside of your card, make it all pretty, but just for the sake of time, I'm just going to do this guy on the inside and show you how to do the front. There we go. So there's the inside of my card. Now the front of my card, I need a piece of Cherry Cobbler cardstock, and that is going to measure 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm popping this piece up on dimensionals to put it onto the front of the card. Put a few dimensionals. There we go. Pull those backings off. There. Let's just get centered. You should have a green border kind of all the way around. Now you're wanting now to move this base out of the way. We do need to do some stamping on a piece of white, but that is best done just on a piece of scrap paper, and then we'll add it to our card later. So this piece is going to measure 3 3/4 by 5, and I'm just wondering, yeah, I did not trim it. I was like, oh, something looks too big. So let me just grab a trimmer to make that 3 3/4 by 5. There we go, that's better. So that should fit right in the middle here now. If you want a bit more of the red showing, you can trim it a tiny bit more. There we go. Okay, stamping time. So I always like to start with my sentiment because that is the piece that I really want to work around. So I'm going to use my cherry cobbler ink. Just tap, 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 and put this right in the middle of my page. Then with that same cherry cobbler ink, we're going to start adding a few of the poinsettias. Okay, so those guys, you can just pick and choose where you want them. Some of them will be fully on the page. Some of them are going to start coming off the sides. That's why I always say just grab yourself a scrap paper because you don't want this getting all over your desk. I think I have a hair on here. Yes, I do. See, look, there's squiggles in this one. One of my dog's hairs, as usual, has infiltrated my craft room. There we go. Re-ink. It'll just add character to my card, right? We're the only ones who notice those big mistakes. And that's really not a huge mistake. It just looks like the petal is weird. Okay, now for your leaves, I would suggest starting with whichever one is biggest because that's going to take over the large spaces you have left. So I'm using shaded spruce for my leaf here. That garden green would look gorgeous as well. Even granny apple green would look really sharp for the lighter one. And you're just adding these in a few random places. They don't need to go everywhere. It's just to kind of add a tiny bit of character to your card. And don't forget, we have one more green still. It does really round it out nicely. I'm using Old Olive. I'm going to just put some of those leaves all over the place here. Like this, because it can kind of just fill in any spot that you're feeling a gap. There we go. So that's pretty good. Now, when I hold this up to you, I know you can't see it at the moment. Do you see the difference? Come on, focus. There we go. Do you see all these stripes on here? The difference between this nice stripe and kind of textured background and one that's rather flat. So how you're going to get that little bit of focus is just with one of our embossing folders. You can use any of them. There's some really adorable sets out there, one that even has little poinsettias, one with snowflakes if you're doing that. But I'm just going to use our subtle kind of looking texture. This is one of our basic embossing folders, and it comes in a trio with kind of polka dots and this line look, and then one other that I'm drawing a blank on. And they're just really nice to add a little bit of texture to whatever you're doing, okay? So we're gonna set this on the inside, like so. And this is a 3D embossing folder. So when you layer it in your cut and emboss machine, you're going to use platform 1, this nice thick base. Then we're going to put our embossing folder in paper. And the cover is that really thick plexiglass 3D plate. So this guy is blue because I purchased it when it was first released, but the ones that are out there now are gray. So it doesn't matter, they'll work the same. I'm going to do this on the ground just because my desk is getting to be a mess, but I'm just rolling it through and you'll see the texture come out. There we go. I find the closer I get to the holidays or to an event and classes, because I have some nice Christmas events coming up, the worse my desk ends up looking. So here we go. That gives it just a gorgeous amount of texture, and it's kind of something to break up any white spaces that you left. So on the back, we're using a flat adhesive, and we're going to attach this to the front of our card. sure your card's opening the right way. Did that the other day. I went to attach it and it was upside down and did not work well. There we go. Okay, so my white piece looks great. The card looks fun, but come on, it's Christmas. We need to add a little bit of bling. So all I have is some of our basic rhinestones. These are found in the annual catalog in a few different sizes. So I'm just using the medium size one because they kind of fit really nicely in the center of my poinsettia. But there are so many fun embellishments, basically whatever you have on hand. There's some that are like tinsel looking with glitter inside. You can use those too. Whatever floats your boat and whatever you think ties in with your project is perfect. So you're going to use 4 or 5 of them, kind of depending on where you put those poinsettias. And in the end, you have a gorgeous set of cards that are so easy to mass produce. You could sit here and make all those bases and then stamp all those images. You'd have a nice pile of Christmas cards to hand out in a really short amount of time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Make sure to check out the description on the video because I have posted all the supplies we used and all the measurements for the cards. If you have any questions, please reach out. And you're also able to shop 24/7 on my website, laurenerbonis.stampinup.net. If you're finding any of these items that you need to add to your collections. If you're ordering during any specific month and your order is over $35, you'll get a set of projects from me in the mail for free, along with an exclusive video tutorial. And if your order is over 100, you get those cards plus a little embellishment gift. So just so those of you who are new know what the perks are, you'll get those little treats automatically anytime you place an order. I look forward to seeing you guys again next Tuesday. There will be another video posted on my YouTube page, Lauren Scraplot, or you can always check Facebook later for the repost as well. Bye, guys.